This podcast is not for the overly sensitive, the terminally optimistic, or anyone who thinks dating in your 50s is a whimsical romantic comedy. Listener discretion is advised.
Brutal honesty with Trent Erickson. Girls can tell. Try not to take it personally.
I want to start with something I'm still figuring out. 5 months ago, I matched with someone. We talked, there was something there, and we almost met. And then we didn't. Life, timing, whatever reason, it didn't happen. Then 2 months later, she came back. But the dynamic had shifted. She wanted to keep things friendly, low stakes, no pressure. And I said no. Not to be cold or punish her, but because I knew what just friends with someone you're interested in actually costs. I'd seen that done before, and I wasn't interested in living it myself. So she disappeared, and I moved on. 3 months passed, and then last week, out of nowhere, she came back again. This time with a reason. She wanted to talk about podcasting. And we did, briefly. But the conversation moved somewhere else pretty quickly. Personal and real things. The kinds of things you don't usually get to in the first week of talking to someone, but we had history. She told me the show had helped her, that certain episodes hit somewhere specific, that she'd been cheated on, and that some of what I'd said helped her make sense of it. I always love hearing that what I say helped someone in some way. That means a lot personally. Then, out of nowhere, unprompted and unrequested, she said it. I'm not ready to think about having a romantic relationship with anyone right now. I hadn't brought it up, suggested it, or pushed this in any way. I hadn't even leaned in that direction. She raised it herself, and then she said goodnight, and I haven't heard from her since. Now, she travels for a living. Silence isn't automatically a signal, but I'm sitting with this, because this is the third time she's found her way back. Once when we almost met, once when I turned down friendship, and now, after listening to everything I've put out on this show, she came back again through a different door. 3 times isn't coincidence. 3 times is a pattern. And the fact that she named a romantic dynamic I hadn't introduced preemptively before anything was even on the table tells me something. That it's someone who's interested and scared. And now I'm the one holding the conversation I didn't start about a dynamic I didn't introduce, wondering what not ready actually means. Not ready now? Not ready with anyone? Not ready with me specifically? I don't know. And the not knowing is exactly what this episode is about. Because I'm not ready might be the most loaded phrase in modern dating, and almost nobody stops to ask what it really means. Here's an idea that sounds healthy but isn't. The idea that before you open yourself up again, you need to be fully processed, healed, and stable, with 0 residue from the last relationship, total confidence, and complete certainty. We call that being ready. And on the surface, it sounds responsible, like you're protecting yourself and like you're protecting them. But what it really is a moving goalpost. Ready never fully arrives. There's always one more thing to work through, pattern to understand, night where old pain resurfaces unexpectedly, one more moment where you wonder if you're making the same mistake again. If readiness means the absence of all that, you're never dating again. Nobody is. We talk about waiting like it's neutral, like time just stands still while you heal. It's not. Time compounds. Every month you spend waiting to feel certain turns into a year you're not practicing vulnerability. You're not building new evidence about who you are in a relationship. A year your nervous system stays in the exact same default setting. And the longer you wait, the more comfortable alone becomes. But comfortable in a fortress way. Your routines solidify and your space becomes exactly how you want it while your standards sharpen, and that's not always a bad thing, but your tolerance for disruption shrinks. Then one day you realize that I'm not ready stopped being about healing a long time ago. Now it's about protecting comfort, and that's a different thing entirely. Healing makes you more open over time. If what you're calling healing is making you more closed, guarded, or certain that the risk isn't worth it, that's building a fence. Let's be honest about the stories. I'm not ready can mean a lot of things. It can mean you're still processing. It can mean you're scared of repeating the same mistake. You still have feelings for someone else, or you've built a life alone that feels safer than risking it. All of those are real and worth exploring. But one more thing it can mean is that specific person in front of you doesn't make you want to push through the discomfort. Because when somebody genuinely wants to build something with you, readiness becomes flexible, fast. They don't say they're perfectly healed and ready to proceed. They move toward you anyway. Nervously, maybe. Slowly, maybe. But they move. Desire doesn't wait for a green light. It finds a way forward. Indifference preserves the timeline. Desire bends it. So when you hear, "I'm not ready," the real question is, are they willing to build something with you now? If the answer is no, well, that's telling. There's a version of caution that's healthy. Going slow, building trust before building expectations, being honest about where you are without using it as a reason to never move. That looks like, "I want this, but let's be careful with it." That still includes you. Stalled is different. Stalled looks like maybe someday. Stalled keeps you in orbit without a destination and feels like possibility but functions like absence. And orbiting feels romantic for about a minute. Then it feels like you've been parked outside someone's house for hours and they haven't come to the door. The difference between slow and stalled is obviously movement. Slow is moving carefully towards something. Stalled is staying in place indefinitely while calling it caution. I know what fear feels like. That specific version. It's the moment you catch yourself thinking about someone, you can't tell if it's excitement or dread. It's lying awake running through scenarios, the disaster ones. It's the way your brain defaults to, "How does this end badly?" before it ever gets to, "How does this go well?" That's a nervous system that got burned and updated its threat model accordingly. It's actually doing its job. The problem is, it's also blocking the thing that's supposedly protecting you for. Fear doesn't disappear through avoidance or dissolve while you're alone in a quiet apartment convincing yourself you're healing. It recedes through new experiences, real grounded, eyes-open engagement with someone who gives your nervous system a reason to update. You don't become less afraid of trusting someone by never trusting anyone. You become less afraid by choosing carefully and finding you survived it. Maybe even that it was worth it. So here I am. Someone who has come back 3 times is quiet again. And I don't know if she's working or processing or retreating. I don't know if not ready was a door she left open by saying it out loud, or a door she was quietly closing while leaving the light on. I don't know if she comes back a 4th time. But what I do know is she keeps finding her way back. And that means something. Or maybe it means nothing. But I can't build a future on a pattern of returns without a destination. At some point, the question stops being, will she come back, and starts being, what happens when she does? Because if she returns again and the answer is still not ready, then ready isn't the issue, and I'll have my answer. So I'm sitting in the uncertainty without forcing a conclusion, because the only honest move right now is to move along, and to be clear with myself about the difference between someone who's working their way towards something and someone who's made orbiting into a permanent state. Nobody graduates from pain. There's no moment where someone hands you a certificate and says you've healed enough, processed enough, and grown enough to proceed. There's only this, a decision that imperfect, uncertain, and willing is enough to move forward. If you're the one saying you're not ready, I'm not here to challenge that, but I'd ask you to be honest about what it means. Is it about timing, or is it about the person in front of you? Because those are 2 very different things. And if you're the one who heard it, the one sitting with a conversation that ended somewhere unexpected, wondering what comes next, I don't have a clean answer for you. I'm sitting there too. What I can tell you is waiting to be ready is how you stay alone. So is waiting for someone who says they aren't. And the people worth waiting for, the ones who genuinely are working towards something real, they keep moving. Slowly, maybe. Carefully, probably. But they move toward you. They don't keep finding reasons to circle back without ever landing. So watch what they do next. Not what they said, what they do. Because the ending isn't written yet, and neither is yours.